and take you through the salient capabilities that the product will have, the key messages that we need to take to the market, and essentially so that you guys get a sense of what's the overall value proposition of this thing, how does this differentiate itself with respect to competition, and why we believe this is actually a kind of a breakaway thing from an RPA standpoint, right? So those are some of the salient things that we will cover during the call. I will just spend a few minutes walking you guys through the broad overview of the product landscape and the launch and what's included in it. And Shrikant will later do a demo and show the product capability to you guys, all right? So what's going to happen on August 1st week in Chicago is essentially we're launching two things. We're launching 18.0, which is AssistEdge RPA 18.0, so it is a new major release. The second thing is we're also launching a concept which is called as automation singularity. Right? So there is a concept launch and there is a product launch. The product and the concept tie together, and it will become clear as we go through the next 30 minutes, 40 minutes, it will become clear to you guys. So let me start with the concept first, and then we will come to the product. So see, what we're seeing in the automation space is, as you guys know, is a rapid evolution of the digital workforce. We're also seeing from a client standpoint, there's tremendous pressure for clients to continuously innovate and deliver rapid new products and services to their clients and so on and so forth. And their current way of operations, the current way work is done, the current way IT enterprises, etc., are kind of a limitation factor to them in terms of driving agility, speed, and so on, predictability, and so on and so forth. So what we have kind of crafted is this thought of automation singularity, where we're saying that in the future there is going to be a workforce which is going to be a combination of the digital and the human workforce, and this combination of human and digital will represent a very powerful blend of advanced capabilities, right? And we believe that this future workforce, where the human is going to be empowered by the digital workers, will be able to deliver far more superior value in the organizations that they work within, right? So that is the concept around automation singularity. And also automation singularity refers to the fact of not only the human and the worker coming together, it also refers to the fact that we will have intelligent automation pretty much pervasive in all the enterprises. It also refers to a state of enterprise where there is going to be almost unparalleled level of innovation that is possible because of this new class of workforce that is coming in, right? So at a very high level, this is what automation singularity is. There will be papers that will get released. There's going to be at least a couple of white papers that is going to get published in the next week or so around this concept. So you guys will be able to kind of get a deeper view into this. There's going to be one that we're going to be co-authoring along with Forrester that's going to come out, and that's going to be backed by some primary research that we've done with clients around the world. And then there is going to be another white paper that's going to be essentially written by us internally. So the combination of these two things should give you a lot more clarity about this thing called automation singularity. And everything going forward that we do in terms of our product strategy, etc., will all tie into this from a concept standpoint, right? While there'll be a whole bunch of capabilities within the product that we will deliver to drive this concept, right? So that is the very high level 30,000 foot view around automation singularity. There are the other thing that we will be talking going forward is that there are fundamentally three stages in the automation space. One is the deterministic automation that everybody started with. The second is the intelligent automation, which is what the world is talking about. And what we will also introduce to the world is the next phase of automation, which is called as human-empowered automation. And you will see some of the glimpses of human-empowered automation in 18.0. So this entire journey from deterministic to intelligent automation to human-empowered automation, and this continuum and this very long journey of this is what we're calling as an automation singularity journey, right? Um, our fundamental pillars that we want organizations to develop, which is around discover, automate, orchestrate, remains intact. Our product strategy and product roadmap continues to focus on these three disciplines, so that doesn't necessarily change in any way. It is just that we have coined this world of automation singularity, and that's what we will be talking about as we go forward from a thought leadership standpoint, right? And if you were to ask why did we want to come up with this, we really, really wanted to have a narrative of our own. We have been in the last whatever years and years, ever since RP has come, we've been pretty much following the narrative that other people have established. We thought it is very important for us to have a narrative of our own, substantiate that narrative with data, substantiate that narrative with the right kind of product capabilities, and actually work with the clients to make sure that this narrative actually delivers value, right? So hence the compulsion and hence the reason to come up with this concept of automation singularity, and through which we hopefully will be able to control and manage a lot of narrative going forward. Like we did with process discovery in January, where all process mining companies and RPA vendors also started tagging along with that. We hope that automation singularity will also drive similar kind of momentum and also give us some new fresh breath of fresh air that we can take to our clients and also prospects and so on and so forth. Okay, so now about the 18.0 itself. See, as we're talking about 18.0, we are introducing a new capability which we're calling as ALBIE, ALBIE. ALBIE is going to be the cognitive engine that's going to reside within AssistEdge, right? So that is one fundamental capability that we're bringing. We'll talk a little more about ALBIE later. The second thing that we're going to be amplifying as part of 18.0 is that leveraging ALBIE and leveraging all the cognitive services and capabilities and moving towards human-empowered automation, our message is going to be that we will push the automation frontier to 95% or above for complex processes, all right? So where the industry is talking about 50 to 60% automation, we want to go out, stick our neck and say that we will drive 95 plus percent of automation within complex processes, not simple processes. The other major things from a technology capability that's going to get introduced in 18.0 is being able to run close to 100 bots on a single virtual machine. Now, to our knowledge, no other vendor has come out saying that this kind of scalability has been achieved. So we believe at this point in juncture and the maturity of the industry, 100 bots on a single VM will give us a leg up compared to all our competitors that are out there. And we're going to back all of this up, this innovation, with 18 patents, which are filed in various areas, all the way from bot management to bot orchestration to interoperability between digital workers and also AI capability. So it spans a whole bunch of things. So it is going to be highly patent driven in terms of to showcase our innovation that comes with 18.0, right? So this is at a very broad level what 18.0 will have. ALBIE in itself, if we were to double click, will have various elements to it. One is there is going to be an ALBIE basic, which will be free of cost, which will be baked into the product that currently has. And there is an ALBIE premium, and the ALBIE premium will have a commercial construct to it, and people will have to buy that, right? And we'll talk about it a little later. Separate to the ALBIE premium and ALBIE basic, there will be a whole bunch of ALBIE cognitive services which they can get on the tap, right? Which is basically from the cloud. All of those cloud services, obviously, they'll have to pay as per pay-per-use kind of a model, right? As they call vision, ALBIE vision capability, ALBIE OCR capability, and so on and so forth. They will be able to pay for these things on pay-per-use basis. So you have the ALBIE basic, which will drive a lot of dynamic decision making within the bot management capability, which will be inbuilt and comes free of cost. Then there is the ALBIE premium, which has everything to do with contextual intelligence, right? About learning about the process, helping the human make better decisions, etc., etc. All of that comes as part of the ALBIE premium. And then you have the ALBIE cognitive services, and all of these cognitive services are going to be on the tap, delivered from the cloud, right? So this is the broad landscape of what 18.0 is. Now I'll hand it over to Shrikant to walk us through and demonstrate 18.0, and then we will pause and take some questions.
Any questions, right?
I think we should demo and then.
Yeah.
Huh?
Okay. So hi everyone, this is Shrikant. So just to continue from where Sateesh left, 18.0 is primarily about pushing the boundaries of automation. And in that context, some of the key features that we are launching as part of the 18.0 are the computer vision and unstructured data extraction through some of the advanced OCR services, which we will provide on tap. Okay. And that's a significant part, because that's going to be a unique differentiator in the market, that we are not just partnering with some of the intelligence providers, but we are also ensuring that all of these services are managed and monitored through our platform. The computer vision is a significant capability which expands the scope of automation beyond the current deterministic state of automation, and specifically around very complex documents, which are a very common sort of thing in operations. The second, which is what I talked about, which is the ALB, which is the contextual intelligence, which primarily means that we capture key business metrics as we execute a task, and then allow the humans to be augmented in terms of their decision making through machine learning, predicting a decision, recommending a decision, and then humans taking a final call. So both contextually capturing key data, making a sense out of it, and then finally recommending a decision for the humans to take to basically be augmented through that machine recommended decision is what the contextual intelligence is all about. A sort of a corollary capability is, because we are also capturing business metrics, we are also now able to create business intelligence dashboards, which are also through the ALB platform. And ALB also allows us to have a baked-in machine learning within the product, which allows us to do smart resource management, which is basically about the entire cost of ownership of automation. So essentially, how do we optimize the infrastructure that powers the automation, the underlying applications, the machines, and the network? How do we do a smart resource management of that using the machine learning? Some of the other key RPA capabilities that we are also launching as part of 18.0 is around expanding automation footprint through expansion of automations towards the Citrix and VDIs. And this is again a very unique differentiating capability that we will have in the market, because while a lot of players are doing Citrix automations using the standard surface automation or vision based automation, we have built a very unique capability which allows us to do hybrid automation, which means that automations which for applications which are not just within the Citrix environment, but which are also outside of Citrix environments. And all of those are again based on our robust control based approach. We are also expanding our control tower to have multilingual support, including Japanese, Spanish, and French control towers coming out of box. And control tower is now also available as a mobile sort of control tower, which basically means that you can have your control tower running on your iPad, so that you can control and monitor your bots on the go. On the security side, we have again taken a major steps towards making our platform further more enterprise grade secure by having a GDPR ready practices and capabilities, integration with the CyberArk Credential Vault, and XAML and OpenID Connect based authentications. So all of these have ensured that we have been able to pass some of the most most robust checks that many of our enterprise clients have done, and we have passed their security checkpoints as well. So now what I will do is I will jump into the demo and show some of those capabilities in action. So to run this demo, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a particular use case which we have actually done as part of our beta POCs. So this client is a retail client, and the challenge that they were facing was their three-way invoice match process, which practically means that when the vendor sends them the invoices, along with the purchase order, and the warehouses do a goods receipt, a three-way invoice match needs to be done before the invoices can be approved for payment. A three-way between the purchase order, the invoice, and the goods receipt. This process was already a fairly complex process. So while they tried RPA in this process, they were able to do only a part of the process, because the other parts, the previous parts, included a lot of document processing, specifically around classifying the documents that the vendor was sending. And the other part also involved a lot of human decision making in terms of which invoices to approve. When they gave us this challenge, with the 18.0 and LB capabilities, we have been able to automate this entire process end to end. Okay, so that's the first step in terms of expanding the automation footprint that we have delivered. How we did that was the first part, which was primarily around the document processing and unstructured data extraction. We used our computer vision capabilities, which come as part of the LB. What this does is the vendor documents consisted of basically vendor used to send a single document consisting of multiple images, which all included the invoices, the purchase order, and it also included the direct store delivery, or the GRN, that is done by the warehouse. And that single document needed to be processed by the finance team to decide whether the invoice can be approved or not. So typically the document looked like this, which was a fairly complex document. This was just one image out of it, which consists of the direct store delivery. As you can see, it's a scanned image, which also adds to the complexity of the unstructured data extraction from the OCR. We passed this single document through computer vision, which allowed us to do classification of that document. So as you can see, it has classified the document as a direct store delivery, and it has also identified the objects or the areas from which the text can be extracted. So this is one of the key capabilities that allows us to expand the automation and also expand the scope of OCR, because today traditionally the OCR fails when it has to deal with very complex documents which do not have a template. What Vision allows us to do is to classify the document and identify the right objects from where the data needs to be extracted. So once Vision does this, it creates very specific areas for the OCR to extract data. So in this example, as you can see, for the GRN document, which is the direct store delivery, the OCR has identified very clear area from where, the Vision has identified very clear set of area of the document from where the OCR now can extract multiple data elements. This extracted image, identified image, is then passed on to the OCR, which in this case we have used the Microsoft services to extract the data from the identified area. And some of our advanced OCR capabilities allows us to not only extract data from scanned images, but even allow us to extract the data when it is handwritten data as well. So that significantly expands the boundary of the document processing for us. So as you can see, we solved some of the biggest challenges in terms of being able to classify the documents that development and also extract the right set of data from those documents using the advanced OCR. Once that is done, as I mentioned, we were also able to complete the entire automation end to end. So the OCR extracts the data, it sends it to the invoice matching, which is basically a rule-based three-way matching. If there is a successful match, it goes ahead and updates the SAPs and close the process. But if there is not a successful match, and it could be many reasons why that match may not be successful, earlier it basically just went into a fallout, which meant that humans had to process these documents and these invoices which have already failed. However, now with the LB's human intervention capabilities and the machine learning capabilities, instead of sending it straight to the human, we now send it to the LB's decision model, which basically picks up the inputs from the extracted data. So in this particular case, to determine whether the invoices can be approved or not, certain data elements are passed on to the LB's machine learning decision model. It predicts and it recommends whether the invoices can be approved based on these data elements. These data elements were obviously decided based on how the humans were taking the decisions today. Once the machine learning takes a call on whether the invoice is approved or not, can be approved or not, machine also comes up, the LB also comes up with a confidence score. And given the criticality of the process, we decided with the client that only if the machine's confidence is more than 95%, only then we will apply a straight through processing, which means that the machine will go ahead and approve the invoices, and then it goes through the updation of SAP so that basically the invoices can be paid. But if the decision's confidence score is anything less than 95%, then we allow the human to intervene and either confirm the machine's decision or to overturn the machine's decisions based on certain elements. So basically what it means is that the machine's decision is now sent to LB's human decision workbench. Now this is again a very unique and key capability, because what it means now is that any human intervention or any human decisions that are being made as part of an automated process are very much part of and go through the AssistEdge platform. Okay, so that none of the transactions are being sort of fallen out and going out of our purview. Every single transaction goes through the AssistEdge, and we have the understanding of how the transaction has performed. So the human decision workbench effectively is a screen for the business users, for them to go through all the tasks that are waiting for them to make a decision. And this, as you can imagine, while we are showing one of the scenarios which is about taking a decision around invoice, this practically can be used in any human intervention scenario. Okay, it could be an exception management scenario, it could be an OCR exception management. It could potentially be used in any scenarios where a bot and a human needs to work together, okay, and take a call which basically takes the process further. In this example, the business user has got this particular invoice where the parameters are shown in terms of the invoice amount. If there are any damaged goods, what's the amount of that damaged goods, what's the vendor category, what is the mismatch. In this case, the mismatch is both in terms of quantity and price, and what has been the history of invoice approvals for this particular vendor. If there are any documents, which typically will be case in OCR's exceptions, obviously those will also be shown. Now, the LB has recommended a decision of rejection with a confidence score of 80%, because potentially because both quantity and price are mismatched. However, because the vendor is a platinum grade vendor, and the history has shown that this vendor has a sort of a capability to sort of correct the damaged goods and other challenges that may have come, the human in this case may decide to overturn that machine's decision and just go ahead and approve the invoice. So all the human has to do that, once he has gone through the parameters, looked at any reference documents, understands why the machine has taken a particular decision, either go ahead with that decision or change that decision, and say submit. Okay. Once the decision is submitted, basically what it means is that this particular request is now gone back into the closed status because we have already taken a decision on that. And if there are any other decisions for this human to take, those are listed on the human decision workbench. Going back to the process, what we have done is that we have taken the decision, and if the decision is approved, it again goes back to the update the SAP part so that the entire transaction can be completed. So some of the key points that we have been able to achieve through this, one is of course the expansion of automation footprint in this particular example. Some of our very early and rough sort of indications mentioned to us that almost 30 to 50% of the transactions or invoices were going through the manual route because of the document processing and also because of the human decisions, which we were able to now bring it into the automation umbrella. The second was that because of the straight-through processing, the invoice approval rate and invoice basically straight-through processing rate increased by almost 40%. Okay? Thereby, obviously, not only reducing the human efforts on the finance department side, but it also increased and improved their decision-making capability because now the machine is recommending the decision which usually, as it comes with a confidence score, it also gives a fair bit of idea to the human in terms of what is the likely decision. So one is the increased automation footprint, second is the straight-through processing rate, and also the improved accuracy of the decisions are some of the business benefits that we were able to deliver to this particular client with the 18.0 and LB capabilities. So I hope that clarified on the capabilities part. Any questions on that?
Hello, Shrikant. Mandar here. Am I audible?
Yes, Nanda.
Yeah. So this LB engine would be open source, or it would be licensed as we have it for Microsoft Vision and other integrated services.
Yeah. So LB is primarily our entire intelligence engine, and it will have multiple components. The first part will be the LB cognitive services, which, as I mentioned, will be available on tap. Okay, so we will have multiple partners providing those capabilities, and we will allow enterprises to choose one particular partner and allow them to route the transactions to that partner. But what we will ensure is that we will do all the monitoring and metering of those transactions so that the enterprise or the client does not have to do any separate contracting and billing with the service provider. The second capability is the LB baked-in machine learning, which allows us to do smart resource management like the dynamic scaling of the bots. That will come bundled as part of the LB basic. So that basically it's very much part and parcel of the core product. The other capability, which is the LB machine learning, which allows us to do contextual intelligence, that's part of the LB premium, which will obviously be provided based if the client chooses to purchase that LB premium capabilities, and it comes with the machine learning platform as well as the human decision workbench, which allows the enterprises to configure some of their current contextual business decisions passing through our machine learning model and allowing the human users to make the decisions on our workbench. So yeah, so basically three capabilities: LB cognitive services, which are on tap; LB basic, which includes the baked-in machine learning to do resource management; and LB premium to do contextual intelligence and decision workbench.
Okay. So like after using LB, we would be letting the user clients choose their preferred service provider, Microsoft or Google or whatever services they want to use.
Yes, that's
we would be metering that. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Shrikant, this is Rajesh here. Just one generic question. Why the name LB? Is there any full form for that, or what is the term LB mean?
Speak. So LB, Rajesh, Nitin here. ALBI as a term, we've taken as a short form of Albert Einstein. It represents the intelligence of the platform. It represents that brain of the platform, which the digital workers can tap into when they're executing tasks at speed and accuracy.
Okay.
So ALBI is a short form of Albert Einstein.
Okay.
And what
That's good.
ALBI
Okay.
does, guys, is one is ALBI will bring all of this intelligence to bearing, right, through the cloud or native, etc. The other important function that ALBI will do is this is going to be the capability that's going to bring the human and the digital together, right? What we spoke about earlier about the future workforce and the human and digital coming together and etc. ALBI will play a critical role in unifying the human workforce and digital workforce. As you saw from the demo, in the erstwhile RPA product, any fallouts that used to happen used to be managed outside of the RPA system. Right? That's how it has been. Right now, with the introduction of 18.0 and the ALBI capabilities coming in, that entire thing is going to be managed within the product. And ALBI, if they choose to go with premium, will also start learning as humans starts making decisions on the exceptions, and hopefully over time will be able to recommend and start handling a lot of these exceptions by itself, not having to route to the humans.
So yeah, thanks for that, Sateesh. Actually, I have another. The second question was related to that only. So we are talking about the human decision workbench, where the humans will be recommend something and human can override that. Are we in the current version? Are we using that human input, final inputs for the automation learning, or that is something that is there in the roadmap?
Sorry. Sorry, Rajesh, we missed you. What is in the roadmap?
No. I'm asking this question as a part of the human workbench decision workbench. Whatever the inputs taken by the humans, if it is not in line with recommended by ALBI, is it something that we are using as a self-learning or a learning or cognitive learning by the automation?
Absolutely, and that's already in part of the 18.0. So that is just to go back to that. In the example I showed, the invoice approval decision first is taken by the machine, but it is recommended. If the confidence score is less, it is recommended to the human rather than just taking the decision on its own. But if the human decides to overturn, then then it goes back to the machine to say that based on these parameters, the human decided to overturn your decision, and you please correct maybe in this situation.
Yeah. So next time, if it comes the same situation, the machine will be able to recommend correctly.
Yeah. And the power of this is not AI in its very huge grand scale, right? With thousands and thousands of data points and millions of records. That's not the AI we're talking. We're talking really bite-sized AI. We're talking about machine learning, which will understand and deal with just those environmental and the business contextual information in the context of that process only. So it is very limited to that process. So the decision that this will also make can be easily comprehended by the process owner, right? Because one of the problems that AI has faced is whatever it recommends, nobody understands why the hell it recommended A, B, or C, and so nobody knows how to take accountability. This is a challenge around AI. So we are saying now take AI in the context of automation. You will be able to comprehend with this decision. You will be able to understand why it decided. And over time, this can become, actually, this is the futuristic thought, many such ALBI instances in an enterprise can become the foundation of what we're going to call future as a cognitive enterprise, right? That's where this is going to lead to.
Right. No, Sateesh, this is really good. Just one more question on this topic. So a computer vision that we talked about, how scalable it is. I mean, now you showed us one template, but on the ground we have hundreds and thousands of different templates. So how scalable is this solution if we take this to a market?
Yeah, so the good part of this is, Rajesh, is vision does not depend on template. Okay, vision basically depends on objects. So in this the example which I showed, obviously every vendor sends their own documents in their own format. But what we needed was specific objects wherein we can identify, let's say, an invoice from let's say a direct store delivery document or a purchase order document, and that was fairly easy to find because we could easily identify objects that differentiate these two. So that's on the document classification part. Even in the object identification part, once we identify an invoice, typically all invoices will follow the same structure in terms of how where the master data is there and where the line item data is there. And again, so it becomes easier for us to identify the objects from where to pick up the data. So as such, vision is not really looking at the templates. Vision is mainly looking at the objects. As long as we are able to identify the object fairly accurately, I think vision will work, okay, without really having to worry about the templates. So that's the best part for the vision. And again, as I mentioned, vision is not used to extract the data. Vision is being used only to classify documents and
separate out the sections so that the OCR can work on it. I understand that.
Then on the OCR to extract data is far more easier.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Shrikant, Sateesh, I mean, this is a great capabilities. In fact, I'm sure many people would have this use case ready for this kind of a capabilities. I already have 2-3 use cases which in my mind where probably this can be tried. So we have one use case where 12,000 invoices are being processed every year with about 1,200 different templates. One of the best use cases to probably maybe we can try beta or something for this kind of utility.
Yeah, I wish we would have had this solution when we were working with Starbucks. They have around 7,500 different invoices.
Right. Another is like POD.
Yeah, just to add, Milan and Rajesh, so this is something which we have already tried in the market. Okay, so we have already done 2 POCs, Macro and Mahindra Finance, where we were able to extract the data from some of very complex documents with a fairly good accuracy. Okay, almost 90% plus. So it's not something which we have just tried in our labs. It's something which we have tried in plant environments. We are already doing many more, or at least few more POCs right now. So we are fairly confident about the capability to extract the data. Okay. Of course, there will be questions around the accuracy and the confidence score, which obviously needs to be handled based on use case to use case. So, for example, if it's a very like a very business critical or finance critical kind of use cases, then the confidence score and the accuracy that may be required, which may be very high. So in which case we will have to take a call on how, or maybe we can send almost everything to a human decision workbench before it can be automated. But yeah, I mean, I think we are fairly confident on the confidence score and the accuracy that the vision sends.
Okay, sure. And Shrikant, one question on the computer vision and OCR services on TAP, right? So this will be always paid third-party services, or it is partially built in and partially, I mean, just wanted to get more clarity.
Yeah. Sure. So as of today, 18.0 computer vision is provided through Nia Vision, and Nia Vision will be available on cloud, and we will basically consume it as a service. So yeah, I mean, you can call it more like a in-house kind of capability. OCR we have both in-house and external options. So we have our own Tesseract OCR within the AssistEdge product itself. But for advanced OCR capabilities, we have partnerships with Microsoft, Google, and Abby. So we can use any one of these two depending on the situation.
Okay, but Nia Vision and OCR both are paid, additionally paid, or sorry, I mean, I'm jumping ahead, but just
Yeah. So all of these cognitive Albi cognitive services, if you were to call, the reason we are continuing to use the word Albi is because these cognitive services can come from provider A, B, or C, or can be native to AssistEdge as well. So to keep it simple, we said Albi. All of these cognitive services which come on the tab, they have to pay for it, right? It is It is not something that they will install, obviously. This is all going to be an API-based call that they have to make, but they'll be paying per transaction, right? If it costs a cent for every call, it costs a cent for a call. That's what it is.
Got it.
So what AssistEdge will also have as part of 18.0 is the metering capability, right? Underlying metering capability. That way, all the cognitive services calls that AssistEdge will make, whether it is on EV edge verb driven cognitive services or cognitive services that they may call within their own cloud, all of that will get monitored and get reported by AssistEdge to every single client, because that becomes the basis for all the billing and invoicing going forward.
Correct. Makes sense. Okay. And one more question, Shrikant. There is I'm just piggybacking one more question what Rajesh mentioned earlier. So once in the scenario where there was a human intervention, human workbench, where the confidence score was low and some human has to basically open up, review it, take the decision, and whatever human decision has been made, based on that decision also we will be able to apply machine learning, right? I think you replied to this, but I just want to confirm it.
Yeah, absolutely. So every decision, especially if it's like changing the machine decision, that will go back to the ML to learn.
Got it.
Okay. And
see, there's too much to this. Just one quick clarification. So you can have this decision workbench doing without the machine learning as well, right? Where essentially this becomes a workbench through which you can handle all your exceptions. So a simple exception, you can just continue to do it. Only thing is there is no learning. When you put Albi Premium in place, Albi Premium now brings the learning component.
Correct. Got it. Got it. In fact, even without premium, they can probably alter their confidence score based on the variety of document they are getting, right? They might have set up initially, let's say 98, then slowly they reduce it to 90 or 85, depending on the confidence, how the system works.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
So, Shrikant, one question, like all these components would be available post the release, like, or is there any roadmap like of releasing the components step by step?
No. So whatever we showed and whatever we talked about is all part of 18.0.
And it would be available post first week of August?
Yes.
Okay.
In fact, we are already doing some beta POCs on these capabilities.
Just out of curiosity, which client are we doing this beta on?
So the two beta that we have already done for Vision and OCR is with Mahindra Finance in India and Macro in Singapore. The two more betas that are doing as we speak is with HP and with Event Cinema in Australia.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey, Shrikant, Parajat here. I'm assuming you're aware of this use case I had brought. I know we have the largest one, John Deere, which is still sitting out there, 12 million invoices per year. But I don't know if you're planning on tackling that yet. I don't even know what happened to that opportunity. But even at a much smaller scale, the one with Vertiv, and I'm having conversations with Suneet and the team, services team is now involved in a POC. You're aware of that, right?
Yeah. I am.
Okay.
So John Deere, I do remember that we had done basic feasibility check, which I think went perfectly fine. And we were supposed to take a POC based on that. Yeah, even I'm not sure what happened after that.
Yeah, Guru had sold them on this vision. They really loved it. But yeah, and that is probably going to be the biggest one we'll tackle.
Got it.
Guys, based on what you have just heard, How do you feel this will set us apart from competition in terms of a value proposition, being able to pitch, etc.? What do you guys think?
So this is Rajesh here. First of all, this is really, really good. Having said that, based on my experience in past, we have certain solution who are providing this kind of a packaged solution, especially for invoice processing, including machine learning. But the real what we call benefit or real success in this entire solution is the OCR capability. So while we have our LB, which will give us the flexibility to use in-house and COTS product, OCR success is going to be critical in terms of determining how much is done by the machine versus how much is done by human. And that is where some of the solutions that are there, they are filled. But yeah, we wanted this kind of solution almost 1.5 to 2 years back. Good that it is coming now. But definitely, if we do it right, that will definitely give us edge over our competition.
Absolutely, I echo you, Rajesh. I mean, I'm sure everyone would have one or the other use cases in their mind while going through this functionality. I think this is something, Sateesh, probably definitely useful in the current business scenario. We have so many scenarios where this can be applied. So definitely very useful, very, very positive for us.
Yep.
Satish, Parajat here. I think the human workbench and how we go about, I think that's a very, very powerful messaging. Being able to have bots and humans work together. I think we have to get that really working with. For example, when I mentioned this Vertiv, right? This guy we had several conversations, and then every time they implemented this business invoice processing use case with UiPath, and their whole challenge was all around. The more I talked with them, it was nothing to do with, not as much to do with OCR, most of it to do with exception management. How the bots and human work together. That was they plunked down $250,000 with less than 4% success rate, and that 4% success rate wasn't in OCR, but in the exception management. That's what it all came down to. I think so. If we do this right, the human decision workbench, I think that's going to be our biggest winner.
Right.
And Satish, I have two things very crucial for all of us. I mean, I believe that is very, very important. How soon can we start consuming this? As in, how soon can we get some material which we can start dialoguing with various customers? That's one. And second, how soon we are planning to start spreading this within Infosys customer? Because I'm sure whatever webinar we are hosting now for us, if we can have such seminars, webinars for the account teams, like we have internal Infosys webinars, that will also pass on the very strong message that we're coming up with such a great functionality, which could be very, very useful.
Absolutely, Milan. I think it's a brilliant idea. We should do that. Now, see, the thinking that we have is that we want 18.0 to be the launch pad for us to actually break away from the pack on the RPA front if we can. Right? It's a very crowded pack. Everybody's saying the same thing, doing the same thing. It's been really hard for us to break away. We've been struggling. So hence this 18.0, the way it's been crafted, the way the messaging is, everything else is to see if we can create a breakaway from everybody. And having said that, it's not so easy because, for every one engineer we have, there are 10 engineers. For every dollar we have, there's $50 of marketing. So it's not so easy. But at least that is the aspiration with which we are running, right?
Right.
Now, I agree with you. We need to take this message wider and farther to every single engagement manager, because this release in itself can be a major contributor for lead generation amongst all our clients, all our Infosys accounts that are there. I think we should do a huge carpet, literally carpet bomb this capability of the entire Infosys. I completely agree with you. That is one. The second thing is the material-wise, the brochures and so on and so forth will pretty much come to you when, Nitin?
First week of August.
First week of August, Nitin is promising all of you will have all the sales contact, right? Which is just before the launch. Okay.
Before that, you don't want to make it public also. Maybe you want to kind of have that big bang and then start releasing it. But we'll have the deck, brochure, videos to supplement sales efforts.
So all of that will come right around that launch time or before that. And you guys should be able to start talking about this to all your prospects, all your clients straight away. And please inject this into your, especially the latest, greatest prospect conversations you're having, because we believe that this kind of capability does not exist with any of our competitors right now. The way we have packaged it does not exist. And the way we are delivering this all the way from the cloud, saying we are literally one-stop shop for you. You don't have to talk to anybody. You have this thing, you have AssistEdge. We will be able to deliver all the capabilities that you need, and we will continue to enhance and improve this. So our commitment is that if you are married to this journey of automation singularity, AssistEdge product suite and AssistEdge Adverb is committed to making sure we bring a whole set of capabilities to engage and improve on this over a period of time, right? So that's the message we have to take. It's a powerful message we're saying.
Correct. Agree.
It's indeed a powerful message, Sateesh. And sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was
probably we are too excited to see this feature actually. That's the reason.
Yeah. Honestly, Sateesh, I'll tell you one thing. I've spoken to 10 new customers in last 3 days. Out of 10, I got for 9 that they have either UiPath or Automation Anywhere, which is so. We are trying so much to propagate, but I think the competitors have propagated in such a widely that it becomes sometimes difficult to penetrate in some areas. I think this functionality is, like you rightly mentioned, it could be a breakaway for us.
Right. And one more thing, as a part of our launch, and I'm sure that we have already planned how we want to message it, but it's not that one input that I want to give is we can probably stress on the case studies. I know we are still in the pilot, but whatever the quantitative benefits that we have achieved, we are able to achieve, if we can stress on that, and then that will be really, put our message across to the audience very strongly. Because this is, we can call it a Dukti Rak for all the clients. If we are able to quantify the benefits along with our solution, that will really help us to put our point across.
So Rajesh, as part of the collateral kit or the sales kit that we'll be giving the use case properly formatted of what was the challenge, how would we solve it, and what were the KPIs that we delivered as part of the overall transformation. So that will be definitely part of the sales kit. Rajesh, did you get the point? So we will definitely be covering
yes.
the takeaways from it for sure.
Yeah, I got you. Thank you.
Great.
As you guys immerse yourself, you will see that there is more stuff in 18.0. We're talking about the salient stuff. There are a lot of details underneath the hood. I don't think an hour or 45 minutes will do any justice to walk you through this. And I think Nitin and Shrikant, we need to set up a series of these. Right? There is level 1, level 2, level 3 kind of thing. Every salesperson has to be armed with in fact, we've spoken about it. There is a flyer which talks about the key things, but under each one of those, there is a huge narrative that I want every salesperson to be equipped with it. Yeah. So they're knowledgeable enough to talk about each one of these things by themselves, right? So, because this is a release, make sure they're really armed. set up a series for them because lots of questions will come. As an example, 100 bots on a VM is a huge leap. It is not a simple thing. And that for IT people and infrastructure people and total cost of people who are concerned about TCO, etc., it's a major breakaway, as an example, right? And we are saying about the most secure. Look at the kind of capabilities we are releasing as part of this product, which enhances our security. We're talking about more scalable kind of things that we're doing, not only from a 100 bot standpoint. The other thing, guys, we are going to be doing in the next maybe in the next 4 to 6 weeks, you'll hear more about it. We want to make an announcement that we have done the largest bot farm ever in the world, having run somewhere between 2,500 to or plus upwards of bots on a single farm, and say that AssistEdge can power this kind of. So we will do things to showcase that we are the most scalable platform. With Albi, you will be enough food to go and talk about why we are the most intelligent RPA platform that is out there, right? So there is a lot of thought going in strengthening our differentiation that we all discussed in Mysore and follow-up activities that are happening. And 18.0, if you start looking at each one, either will strengthen the most secure pillar, the most scalable pillar, or the most intelligent pillar. Obviously, 18.0 itself, the way we package not only the product capabilities, even in terms of how we're going to deliver the services around this thing, how we're going to bill and manage and meter, all demonstrate basically the most innovative, not only from product capability, as a company, right? So I think you have enough to go talk about this thing.
Yep. Sateesh, just curious on that point about one virtual machine, 100 bot. Typically, whenever I have spoken to the architecture or infra team that we will be able to support 5 bot on a one virtual machine, they're a bit skeptical. Why are you saying 5 bot? I mean, how do you justify it and stuff like that? We start getting the questions like that. Then I start explaining them about our technology, that what do we do, even if I minimize the application, I can still do the automation because we work on the control ID. We do not use the crude X and Y code. I mean, I explain them those funda and, somehow try and convince them. When we take this message to our customer, particularly the technology people, right? How do we justify that? Is there any thought? I mean, is there anything which we can?
Yeah. Good point, Velan. Shrikant, please add. I think, see, we obviously have to substantiate our claims, and we have to substantiate our claims. Not only be that, and also we have to be somewhat prescriptive as well on what do we mean by this and how will this deliver value to them and how can they achieve this. And all of that data will come along with this, by the way. When I said there will be a narrative to each one of these things, this will all be part of the narrative. So our engineering team will make sure that there is enough thinking put behind this thing, because this is something that they've done it. So they demonstrate.
And to your point, Milan, I think you're right. See, the challenge, and it's an opportunity for us also, because see, all the other key players, they have always stuck to one bot per machine. Okay? And that's how they
That's a valid point.
Yeah. So we clients are kind of used to this thing that, okay, one machine means one bot. While I can do multiple tasks with that bot on that machine, but it actually is only one bot. And hence, for us to explain that you can actually have more than one bot on a single machine, that itself takes some time to understand. Okay.
Correct.
Because when we say that we can have multiple bots, they typically take the that means you can do multiple tasks on that machine. Then we have to explain, no, that is not it. We can not only put multiple bots, but each bot in turn can do multiple tasks. So it's almost like an N into N kind of combination that we can.
Yeah, M into N kind of a permutation combination. Correct.
So, but yeah, I think until we show it on a real life kind of use case, I think it will be difficult for people to understand.
Correct.
Especially this 100.
One problem there is the security, right? Shrikant, you were on the call the other day with SunTrust as well. They talk about why other companies talk about one bot per machine, because of the user ID, Windows user ID, right?
Yeah, but so, you were mentioning that there was very unique in my mind, where the machine user has the certain accesses. So So what we have typically seen is that while the machine user can be anybody, you can potentially then provide credentials to the bot to run certain applications.
But then John Deere had the same concern. I've seen them as well.
So Parijat. So we have a client, okay, where they are restricted to one bot, one VM because of the various reasons. But we also have clients like Walmart, where we have implemented five bots on a single VM. Okay, so it changes case by case basis. Having said that, Shrikant, when we are saying 100 bots on single VM, I mean, it's really very strong statement. I think we should have some caveat in place. In what conditions, which situations we are saying that 100 bots will work on one VM. We have to also take into consideration the capacity of that VM as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, guys, any other questions so we can just close this? I think there'll be follow-up calls, there'll be future, again, there'll be a lot of dialogue that will happen between now and the next 2-3 weeks. So, but just to give you a first glimpse of this.
Sure, Sateesh.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sateesh.
Thank you.
Shrikant.
Bye.